Hey everybody, Boris Forex. Welcome to the weekly technicals for the crosses for October 16 to October 20th, 2017. And this is the week, I think, of the failure, because let me just show you what I mean. We're looking, I think, at a couple of crosses where there's going to be massive failure, or at least we've certainly already seen some of the failure. We could have continuation. And to me, the most interesting ideas are the Euro Pound failure that we saw at the beginning of this week, or sort of the end of this week, that I think is going to very much continue into the beginning of the upcoming week, where there's going to be at least maybe 80 to 100 more points of continuation on that trade, and very much a possible failure in Aussie Kiwi, especially since we're negative Australian data that could create a failure all the way down to the 109s. And lastly, this is the only one that isn't really sort of a story of failure, but just simply a story of continuation. Again, negative Canadian data and the fact that we're still, I believe, weak on the yen. Oh, this is actually absolutely wrong. I'm sorry. I have the wrong numbers here. This should be 90.50 and 89.50. It's a very tight range, but still worthwhile taking a look at as a potential short here. So these are all actually shorts, in my opinion. All of the front two are truly looking to be like serious failures with some continuation to the downside. This is Euro Pound, and you can see clear flame out. As I've said many times, I love the wick signal on the candlesticks because that tends to always signal at least some continuation. Sometimes it can signal massive continuation to one way or the other, because what you saw here is just complete failure at the 90, and the sellers swamped the buyers, it drove the price down. More continuation here. There is clearly a little bit of support here at this 89.90, but there is scope to move all the way down towards the 180, and that, towards the 88 level, and that is enough here. It's because these are Euro Pound pips for a very interesting trade. So I still like this trade to the downside. Any kind of a pop back up against this move, I like it because I think this is going to keep a real lid on any kind of a rally. We like the pound on a relative basis here. We like the data. We think it's going to force the BOE to hike, or convince the BOE that the hike is going to come in November. All of that should really push the pound towards the 34s and Euro Pound down as a result. The next one is not as bearish looking, but I think has really scope for potential. It does, if you look at this, it certainly has a nice rounded top here in Aussie Kiwi. So you are clearly contained by this around 110.50 level. And all of these rallies against it have been very much contained. This is really going to be a drive on Aussie failure. If we get negative Australian employment data, it really takes the Aussie Kiwi straight down to 109s. So in some ways, it's really a bet on the fact that we're going to have weaker employment data. A strong employment data set just could blow this trade up, but it may not blow it up well above this. I would still be willing to short this with probably a stop at around 1075 or so. If it can survive that, then it still looks relatively negative. Basically, the whole idea here is if you assume that this is a failed rally with a lower top, then this certainly looks much more negative and provides a very nice short on the trade. And the last one is just simply a kind of a low volatility momentum trade. We don't like the yen. The Canadian dollar looks relatively weak here. This may be a longer term trade in the sense that the catalyst for the Canadian stuff doesn't really come in until the end of the week, and it could trade back up. So this is one of those kind of things that I would scale up against it. The uncle point on this trade would be at around 90.75. Any kind of a move back up here would probably be decent. The only reason why I'm not nearly as confident, that's why it's the third trade in the selection, is because if you do get any sort of a dollar yen rally, any type of a yen squeeze, will just blow this trade right back up, strictly on the yen flows alone. So I'm not loving this trade, but if you don't believe that there is a scope for yen rally here into the week, then this certainly looks one of the better yen crosses to the downside, all the way down with 88 as a potential target. So that's kind of how the week shapes up. I love the failures in Euro Pound. I think there's going to be a failure in Aussie Kiwi. Those are the two primary ideas, and CAD Yen is kind of a momentum to the downside. Wish you guys the best luck, the best of trading. Boris, over and out.